is this superhero? Sarge? No. Rosemary, the telephone operator? No. Henry, the mild-mannered janitor? No.
This is such a bizarre choice for a license. Take a cartoon that was originally aired in 1974, one that only ever ran for a single season anyway, and as a result was completely missed by me as I grew up through the 80s, and then wait until the year 1990 before making a budget game about it. 16 years after it's already technically ceased to exist. What a weird choice. Still, regardless, it must have worked because my parents ended up buying this for me, and I seem to remember thinking that I enjoyed this game more than I enjoyed Scooby-Doo, which I reviewed a couple of weeks back. Two things dawned on me quite quickly, however. One is that... Oh, it's crashed. Right, let's try that again. Two things dawned on me quite quickly, however. One... Are you taking the piss? What is going on? So, okay then, three things dawned on me quite quickly. The first is that running the game in 48k mode stops this mysterious step from crashing the entire game. The other two things were that, as a kid, I could never make it past the first level, and as an adult, I could get to pretty much exactly the same place as I could when I was 8 years old. I do remember what I liked about the game, though. It was the snappiness of the combat, the lack of falling damage, the monotone but well-rendered graphics. I had no idea who this Kung Fu dog was, but I liked him. I liked how quickly enemies hit the deck. Controls were also simple and fluid. Hold down space to attack on the spot and press jump to automatically do a flying kick through the air. It feels good for a budget title, and the joyless, static animation of this anthropomorphic dog just floating through the air as he falls downstairs is absolutely hilarious. It's probably not intended to be, but it's so stupid that I accidentally love it. That's where my love ends, though. It ends pretty sharply, and it continues to sink, because I soon came to realise why I'd never gotten past the first level of Hong Kong Phooey. Shall we go through those reasons why? Okay, look at this. How the hell do I get up there? I know I need to, there's a switch, but there's absolutely no way I can reach it. So I carry on, and I reach the bottom of the level, and I've still got a pretty vivid memory of all of this section, but my memory ends there, and that's because I've never gotten further than this. You flick a switch at the bottom, and then... what? What now? Where do I go? Let's take a look at the instructions. Here we have a list of the things you'll find, most of which we've not even gotten to yet because we can't get past the first set of platforms, and then we have here player characteristics. What does that say? Hong Kong is able to kick, punch, jump, and duck. Yep, understood. Energy is lost by contact with any of the thugs or their weapons. This is depicted by the famous Hong Kong Book of Kung Fu slowly dissolving, blah 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 blah. So that's all we get. There's no other instructions. Kick, punch, jump, duck. Even the Redefine Keys screen has just 5 controls, okay? Cool. So what? What is it I need to do? Well, there's actually another move. There's another move, and it is vitally important to know this because it's absolutely impossible to get anywhere without knowing how to do it. That move is the long jump. How do you do the long jump? Well, you know how pressing jump makes you automatically do a flying kick? So, right, get this. To do the long jump, the move that does not include any attacking whatsoever, you have to hold down attack and then jump. So just to clarify, press jump without attack, that will make you attack, but pressing jump with attack will make you not attack. Now, let that stir around inside your head for a minute, and then come back to me and tell me why, in the name of Dr. Benton C. Quest, is none of this mentioned anywhere in the instructions or within the game itself. This is the most backwards, nonsensical thing I've ever heard of, and for once in my life I can stand side by side with my 8-year-old self and say, mate, I totally understand why this is as far as you got. It doesn't get any better from there. There's another issue with the game. Remember how I said I'd never gotten past the first level? What do you do when you've put together a budget game but you've only made one level? You ramp up the difficulty. You make it so that the players have to be consistently on form from start to finish, because you don't want them to complete it too quickly and take it back to the shop for a refund, do you? So here's the deal. Give the player 1 life, require them to know how to navigate this labyrinthine warehouse, stick stuff that damages the player absolutely everywhere, set the energy bar to a sliding scale and give the player no knockback or iframe so they have 0 chance to recover from anything, have stuff that comes from off-screen and hits them before they even have a chance to react to it, put platforms in positions that, if missed, will lock the player out of completing it.
Now look what you've done!
I think that's roughly everything, all wrapped up into one shitty package. The most frustrating thing about all of this is that splitting the game's one big level up into, say, 6 or so smaller levels and giving the player a handful of lives to try and get through it all, that would have made for a much better game, not just for children, but for people everywhere, rather than this infuriating, fluffy marathon that it presents to you. Perhaps that's the big deciding factor in whether you're going to actually enjoy this game or not, because reviews at the time were wildly different. CMVG gave the game a honking review, while your Sinclair quite liked it. Maybe it really is all down to perseverance, but I just found the whole thing to be incredibly annoying. It took 16 years for the cartoon to be turned into a game, and it took a further 30 years before I found out how to jump properly within the game. This review has, technically, a history of 46 years within it, and the game can be completed in roughly 10 minutes if you know where to go and what to do. I don't know what the moral of the story is. Okay, let me think. Sometimes in life, you're presented with a challenge, and sometimes it can take a long time before you overcome that challenge, but then when you beat the challenge, which wasn't really a challenge, it's just that the rules weren't explained to you, well, then after that, there's usually just something worse anyway, so don't overcome challenges no matter how long they take. The end.